The only way Trump goes to jail, guaranteed. Listen to this entire video. You're going to love this because I'm going to break it down to you in a way that nobody on the internet is ever talking about. And I'm going to go right into the point. Let's go into this. And remember, when you listen to this, you're going to feel 1,000% better. Remove the pain that you have of even thinking about this guy getting away with it. So what's the deal? Here's the breakdown of this. One, you have to look at the history of dealing with this guy. I'm going to walk you right through this and right into something everybody else has missed. So let's get into it because my hands are shaking over this. First of all, when he came into office January 20th and started firing people, do you know the first group of people he was firing? The intelligence officers. He was firing the intelligence officers. Let me explain how that means something. There's only one president that messed around with intelligence officers, and that was JFK. Now, no, this is not an assassination, conspiracy plot, or temple. No. I'm simply saying that the biggest group of people we really don't pay attention to are civil servants as it relates to investigators and intelligence officers. And they are by the thousands right now around everything that Trump does, both in the department who hasn't been fired, the people who retired, the people who took the buyout. Keep listening to me now. And all of these people who do not like this guy are looking at every darn thing he's doing. Now, in my Clarity group, I'm always talking about how there are 8 different types of investigations. Let's just take a look at one. One of the main things that could get this man in trouble and put him in jail, and then hear me out for everything else. The big thing that could get him is the grifting. Yes, grifting could take you out as president and get you arrested. The problem is he has the audacity to do it on blockchain in front of everybody with these meme coins. Let me break down the meme coin game, the scam that's going on there. Basically what he does, or should I say his family does, is go around and say, we want to work this deal with you in this country or this multinational corporation. All they got to do is put money into the meme coin. It's like a Swiss bank account. And because of that, what they end up doing is putting the money in the meme coin. They loan against the meme coin money like you would an asset, like one of their buildings or something. You can loan against it and have the asset pay the loan, but the loan they get is tax-free. And many times they can do self-liquidating loans when you got money at that level, where they're a property that grow in asset value. They can basically leverage against paying off that loan. So my point is they're getting free money off this, but it's totally traceable and it's in front of thousands, listen to me now, thousands of investigators. They can't do anything right now, not with the DOJ in his hands. But if they give it a little time and have all of these records, they can get him. And first of all, they can start getting him as early as 27. And 27 and 28, things can get real interesting for the president. Now, could they get him before? The only way they're going to get him before is if the states sue. Now, here's something nobody else is talking about. They're not talking about if the states sue together, the Democratic states who've been suing for us for the last 40 weeks, if they sue, they could sue the president and challenge them. There's up to almost 25 states that are suing right now over the food stamps, over SNAP. So could they sue the president over this, the grifting? Yeah, they could. It's a long shot, but the real shot is waiting till he gets out of office. They can get him, they can get his sons. Barron Trump, they did all sorts of Bitcoin moves. They can get this grifting left and right. And the exciting part to me is this. They're so stupid that they're doing it in the open, that the investigators who are looking, now there's basically 3 to 4 different types of investigators. The first group are the ones who may actually be working and just biding their time. So they're right under the administration, feeding information out there. The second group are the people who have retired and are taking a look at him regardless. That's one of the most dangerous groups because they are pissed, they want something to happen, and they are ticked off. Then the third group are people who went into the private sector. You see, when you got cleared by the government, you can get some big money in the private sector. And what I've always believed, and I've talked about this over in my Clarity group, click the link in the description and in the homepage, you know the deal. Here's the thing, in my Clarity group, I've been telling people, honestly, there are people who are wealthy, who have private sector money, who are paying for them to be looked into privately by professional investigators who know how to operate throughout the governmental system. How do we know? Well, we don't know 100%, obviously, because it's secret, but I will tell you this. This is the thing you should keep locked in on. Pay attention. Here in Chicago, the way they got Al Capone was that you had 6 secret business people go to the president. The president sent them a forensic accountant from the IRS, or what was the IRS before they called it the IRS, and they investigated Trump and got him. It's the investigators in the intelligence community that could take this man down very quickly. Now, again, it would be hard while he's president, but the grifting is the only way guaranteed this guy could get taken out. And if there were any groups of people that could do it, it would be current, retired, private sector investigators who are pissed. You got to understand, the power of the government is within the people of civil servants. There's a nobody. I'm not talking about, here's the thing you got to pay attention to, too. I'm not talking about the Jack Smiths. I'm not talking about the Letitia James or any attorney generals. I'm not talking about known public officials. I'm talking about the nobodies, the ones who can find out everything, and they don't even see it because they're moving in silence. They're unnoticeable. It's somebody out of Oregon, somebody out of Omaha. It's somebody out of Mississippi, somebody out of Kentucky. It's somebody out of mid-central Ohio. It's a nobody who is looking, investigating, connecting with other nobodies that can get him in jail. He could go to jail. Oh, yes, he can go to jail. And this ain't, a long-term theory. This is real. Do you realize how big this can absolutely be? This can be like a mega giant that comes out of nowhere, because there are thousands, literally thousands, who've been affected by this. And he'll have no fury, like a pissed off civil servant. It's the civil servants that saved us in 2020, y'all. It was. And the civil servants, both in the intelligence community, the investigative community, and the court community. That's why I don't think they'll be able to take the election. We all know they're trying to steal 26 and 28, but I've been telling people calm down, because what we don't realize is the inner working powers of our local governments, not our national, but our regional, our counties, our districts, our cities, our states are the ones, even in red states. Remember, he couldn't even get the votes he wanted out of Georgia. He's like, I need 15, 20,000 votes. Governor said, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, what I'm trying to break it down and tell you is that this guy is on a verge of jail. Now, how could he avoid jail? Guaranteed. Die. He's getting up there, and obviously the man is sick. All the doctors are like, something ain't right. But the other thing that he could avoid jail on is if they really just pinpoint it on his sons, which frankly, me personally, is great. That if he's going to jail or they coming after him again, and I know all of you are focused on that and you want that, let me know in the comments. But I think personally that his sons would be the worst thing to happen. The worst thing happened to Joe Kennedy was they got his sons. And I don't mean assassin or anything. I don't want to see anybody hurt. I don't condone or promote any violence. I'm simply saying if they investigated and got them caught up in jail and got them hit with money and fines. But the fines might be low, but it depends on the situation. There's a lot of stuff. Treason could also be another one. I want to throw a couple of more at you. Treason could be the other one that would get them pretty bad. But that's a long shot to prove. If the investigators, and this is intelligence community involved, could get them on treason charges, they would. And because I think we all know that Russia and some of these other countries got something on him. They do. They got something big on him, and we know it. But it's just a matter of what and when. When is this happening? Because at some point, it is happening. And I'm telling you, if the investigators just pull this trigger the right way, they're going to get them. They're going to get them good. Now, what we need to prepare for and understand as this process unfolds and we see what happens is where we're going to be with helping democracy and ourselves. I always bring it back to you because as much as we can talk about getting Trump, what is happening with you? Where is your mindset at? Where is your emotional state at? Where are you at right now? Because if you're stressing out over this stuff, and like I told you in the beginning, don't. Because there are forces at work that we don't know that haven't been seen. They're going to get this guy one way or another. And if he doesn't croak out, die out, or claim dementia, they're going to get his sons. And guess what? They're not alone. When I said all this stuff about jail for Trump, let me tell you something. Let me take the rest of this time and break it down to you. Who else I believe is going to jail? Who could be going to jail? Pam Bondi in the DOJ's office, people out the DOJ's office, been telling the prosecutors to lie. How do we know? Because ex-prosecutors came out of there saying just that. You don't get 10 plus prosecutors out the Southern District of New York, first time ever they left, because they're like, something's wrong, something's up. From Sisson down, all of them broke out of there. They said, no, this is illegal. I'm going to lose my license and my freedom. And there's going to be they're going to jail. Here's the other group, ICE. These dummies, but they thugs and they don't understand. All this stuff is recorded. It's all recorded. They're doxxed. Them wearing masks ain't going to help them. They're recorded and doxxed, yo. They're going to find these people. And they've already found many of them. They're in trouble. They're in big trouble. And they don't even know it because they're thugs. They ain't got a clue. They're going to throw them under the bus. Who else is going? Well, the top target out the White House, other than Donald Trump himself, is Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller. Do you know in the Judge Zenas Aurelio Garcia case, the Abrego Garcia, and the Alien Enemies Act with Boasberg, do you know the top person who was named in there? Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller's in trouble. Big target. Now, behind that, and Pam Bondi in the DOJ and ICE and the prosecutors in the DOJ, they're attorney generals who could be going to jail. I've been saying that for the last 10 months. They're attorney generals who could be going to jail. But there's another group, and that is the intelligence community itself, from Hegseth to Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, and by the way, speaking of investigations, this is illegal to deport American citizens. So we're talking about people out of the Department of Homeland Security, the State Department, people who are, tied in with Tulsi Gabbard, Kristi Noem. Tulsi Gabbard and Hegseth are in trouble too, but Kristi Noem, and of course Tom Homan, who accepted $50,000 on camera in a bribe. They're in trouble. They're in trouble, and that's just the beginning. They're in trouble. They're about to wipe them down left by right. And they're all on the record. See, they're in bigger trouble than Trump But what makes Trump go to jail guaranteed is based on what he's done so far. What he has stepped into has been an absolute shitstorm. It is the dumbest thing ever. He basically has messed around with this money and grifted off so much money illegally. Not to mention the tie-ins that he has with money. Do you realize the tie-ins this guy has? I mean, it's not by coincidence all this crazy ish is happening. And everybody's like, oh, well, I'm like, listen, they're going to get him. They're going to get him. Okay? The only way they'll get him guaranteed is if they can tie in the grift and pinpoint it back to him. And the only way they would get him if he's in office, which is a long shot, is GOP. But here's the thing. The only thing that'll get him out of office, guaranteed, will be Epstein. Epstein. If they got true, absolute facts, even the GOP got to stand behind it. That's why they're holding up the Arizona congresswoman from being, sworn in. They can't hold off forever, but they're holding it off because they know as soon as this goes down, the game is up. The game is up. He's in a lot of trouble. I mean, seriously, game over Trump. Don't let this guy for 1 second think that he's winning. Here's how he messes with the left. We don't know as Americans, we don't always know the history, operation, and laws of our government. So they get freaked out over stuff. Oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. And meanwhile, I'm like, are you kidding? He's not winning. When you look at his court records, he's lost 60 to 70% of his court cases. Mostly lower court cases, but I want to point out something. 99% of the court cases are lower courts. Only 1% of Supreme Court. He can't send everything up the chain. It just can't happen. We got 500 to 700 cases going on right now. Can't happen. Not happening. My point is that there is a pathway to his jail. We just got to watch the process. And at the same time, I'll go back to you again. What are you doing for a better you? That's what I'm teaching my clarity group is like, listen, it's one thing to decode drama and identify data, but what are you doing to develop yourself? Because this guy, he's on a time clock and his time is running out big time. And I'm trying to tell everybody, be calm, remain cool, because if these investigators pull this stuff, and again, I don't think it'll be the states. It's a long shot with the states, but if they just reveal this stuff to a Democratic Congress, and there's a blue wave coming in 2026, they could get them out the door. Once they got them out the door, the question is, where can we get them into a cell, or at the very least, be convicted again and shut down? I mean, that's what it comes down to. That's why he's attacking every former FBI, current U.S. attorney. It's like, and here's the dummy, what the dummy hadn't figured out. It's really stupid. You're going after Letitia James, but there's 20 plus attorney generals who've been fighting back with him. You gonna get them all? You ain't got nothing on them. You gonna get them all? While they're getting Letitia James, the other 20 plus attorney generals are handling business. And they're fighting for everything that we got. That's why I tell people, I created something called Identifying the Data, and I pointed out how 20 plus attorney generals and governors have been fighting for us for the last 40 weeks. They have saved us hundreds. You hear me? Hundreds of billions. They stopped the $1 trillion freeze that happened in the first 3 weeks. They stopped the Medicaid, Medicare, along with the nonprofits like ACLU and NAACP and other major organizations. I'm trying to tell you right now, this is going to be a very interesting time, I believe, for Trumpism. Because what can happen is this guy can get taken down and he can go to jail. The only way that would happen is, as I explained, with the investigators who already got the information. It's just a matter of who they're going to present it to. Right now, they can't present it to nobody in the DOJ. They can't present it. But Pam Bondi's not going to last long. Pam Bondi's going to go pretty shortly, too. I mean, that's what we're staring at right now. Just take it easy. Focus on you, developing you. Do what you can for democracy, but don't be hung up on all of this. Because I'm telling you right now, we're talking about a possible serious, guaranteed game over for Trump. Make sure that you watch my next video.